Okay, guys, we're back. We're back. Season 1, first official episode of A Million Voices podcast. I'm your host, Christina, and today I'm with my guest, who is also one of my best friends, Sarah. And quickly, before we jump into Sarah, let's discuss my outfit. Change the shades up. A little pissed Euro didn't make the World Cup. Not a little, actually. Very pissed.
So sad.
Did I say Italy?
I
think I missed it. So I mean Italy not making it to the World Cup. And so I have this on just because I'm a little sad today. My NASCAR shirt, again, just felt like it. It's a vibe, you know?
It's a vibe.
It is.
It's a mood.
It is a mood. Sarah, actually, you're in all pink today. And fun fact for you guys, the first time I ever met Sarah, she was in all pink. So
I felt it was best to wear all pink today in honor of that time.
Thank you.
You literally looked at me and were like, who is this girl?
I did. I told her she looked like a bubblegum.
Bubblegum fairy princess gumdrop.
Exactly. So yeah, it was something like that.
Yeah.
Anyways, we're here. We're going to get some topics going for you guys. Let's dig into you. So what do you do now?
I'm honestly just trying to figure it out. I discovered my passion for art. I love to paint. And it makes me really happy. It's literally just therapeutic. So, once I started getting into that, I realized that hey, this could actually be something. So I'm just trying to take that leap and see what it has in store for me.
Honestly,
yeah,
I agree with that. That's what happened with me with Chris Media as well. Once you discover that passion is when you kind of take that risk and take that leap forward. I mean, we've all worked jobs that we may not be the happiest in. And I would say my biggest advice to you guys is just take that leap of faith, because when you're doing something that you're passionate about, you will see it in your work, in when you're working. No job's perfect. There's always stresses, right? I assume even when you're painting, you're not going to get it on the first try.
Yeah. Oh my God. The amount of canvases that I've thrown out and the amount of times that I literally was I'm a shit painter. I'm not good at this. But it's about pushing through and having faith in yourself, being confident in yourself. And yeah,
I agree. And it's also when you have that passion, it lets you push through. It lets you move on to the next canvas.
Exactly.
So I think that's a big thing. And I think another big thing is kind of just not doing something for other people. You're not painting for the validation of others. You're painting because it's passionate to you.
Yeah. And that's what I actually found myself doing a lot. Thinking what would other people like? Oh, what color should I use? Thinking of certain people, oh, I wonder what they would like or what people would want to buy. And when I had that mindset before I would paint, I felt so unauthentic. And I ended up hating what I painted at the end because I wasn't doing it. It wasn't coming from my heart. It wasn't coming from the right place. It was coming from a need for a reaction from someone else. And that was actually a big thing that I had to work through, because once I did, I started realizing that this is self-expression. It doesn't matter what people think. I want to attract the people that are going to see my work and think damn, I don't know why, but this resonates with me. I love that. And it makes me feel good, I just want people to look at my paintings and feel love and gratitude and whatever I was feeling in that moment, because it really is it's the greatest form of self-expression.
I agree. And you want that moment where, you were saying how you felt in that moment. So that energy is kind of translated through the painting. Yeah. So if I pick it up, I can sense that energy of this person put their heart into it.
Exactly.
Not you painted because you thought I would love it.
Yeah, exactly. And although that intention is nice, I love painting for my friends.
It's true.
Almost your birthday.
It's true. I heard I got a surprise coming.
Yeah, I love painting for my friends, but it's I don't know. It's not painting for validation, I guess.
No, it's true. And I feel in general, outside of the painting with anything in life, I feel the way we're kind of brought up is that there's always this sense to seek validation from others. And even social media is a big part of that, where it's you're going to post, and high school is a prime time for this. God. You're posting for those likes, you're posting for the comments. Now there's shares and saves. And I feel as you get older, you realize the only actual way to feel confident in yourself is when you're validating yourself.
Exactly. Because no amount of what people say doesn't matter. Like, sure, it's nice to hear people say like, oh my God, like I love this, or you look amazing, or whatever, like some form of validation. Like, it doesn't matter. If you don't feel that way on the inside, what people say doesn't matter at all.
No, it's true. And it's like, of course, we love hearing compliments, but what's sad is like, and I see it many times with many different things, because through my company, I do like social media for other clients and other people. And I noticed that someone can get 500 positive comments. They will get one comment of someone saying like, hey, yo, like this is shit.
Yeah.
Or your work, what are you saying? Like, you're not even making sense. And that they'll let that bother them for months.
Like, that one comment will matter more to them than all the a million nice comments, because it's triggering something in you. Like, if you have an unresolved wound or something, and like that comment just happens to kind of like dig in a little bit, like it will, if you give it the power, it could really get to you.
It's true. And it falls into like getting that validation from others. You're so concerned what this person has to say. And half the time on social media, it's never your best friends hating on you. It's people that you don't really know, or like
so true.
aren't
like,
close with.
Yeah, like I don't know you. I've probably never fucking met you. But for some reason, what you have to say matters. Like, no,
it should not be that way.
It shouldn't matter at all. And for a long time, like I was somebody who felt the need like to have the approval of everyone around me, you know, like especially in high school. Like, oh, if you meet somebody that maybe doesn't like, they don't understand you, they don't really, I don't know, the vibe isn't there. A lot of us, like, you know, myself included, you feel the need to kind of like try a bit harder to like show that person like, wait, no, like I'm not what you think, like I'm cool, like you'll like me, or you know.
No, it's so true.
Yeah,
it's so true. And like high school is a prime phase for that. I went through it. I think like everyone we know kind of went through it. I feel like you guys can relate as well. Like everyone goes through that in high school. You're always doing things to be cool. You're doing things so people think like you're the person they want to be around, or anything that you want others to kind of raise you on a pedestal, but you actually have to put yourself on a pedestal. Because even when you think of your painting or my company, or even if you work for someone else, your position in that company, you will only excel when you have confidence in yourself and you're not running on other people telling you, oh, you're doing a great job. Oh, actually, you can do a little better. You take what people say, yes, but you always take it with a grain of salt.
Exactly.
Because if you fall into that trap of relying on others' compliments or hatred towards you, you won't succeed. You won't grow.
Not at all.
And I just feel like going back to those crucial years of high school, now it's so bad with social media.
Oh my gosh.
And unfortunately, like majority of the kids growing up right now that are in those years don't see it like that. They don't see like, hey, I don't need the validation from others. Like be yourself, be a leader. Don't be a follower.
And now it's about like showing off the best version of yourself at all times. Like, look at me. I'm the perfect person. I always look good. I'm always wearing the best outfit. I have the most money. I have the best life. It's all about showing off a life that you probably don't have. And that's okay. Yeah. Like, that's okay. Like, when I was getting so nervous when we started this podcast, like our intro, we had to redo like a couple times because she asked me like, so Sarah, like, what are you doing? Like, tell everyone. Yeah. And I was like, I felt like I had to have this speech prepared of like the perfect, like, explanation for what I'm doing right now. And honestly, like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm trying to fucking figure it out. Like,
it's
you
true.
know, we're taught that we need to do things. And I say this all the time, on a specific timeline. And it's like not a very easy timeline to follow. Like not everybody fits into like going to school, graduating, doing a master's or whatever, then getting a job and having that job be something you're gonna love, and then getting married, having kids, blah, blah, blah. Like you guys know what I'm talking about. Not everybody fits into that mold. You know, I definitely was not someone who fit into that mold.
No,
and for a long time I was trying to. And like, that's where the problem starts, I feel.
Yeah, because it's like, if you don't fit into that mold, then you're not getting that validation.
Exactly.
Because now they look at you and they're like, well, you didn't go get your undergrad. Or you didn't work that 9 to 5. Like everything is so structured in society and we're taught and raised a certain way. And I think now it's easier for the younger generations to, like, including ourselves, to kind of veer off that, because we have access to so much information through social media, through like the internet, whereas our parents didn't have that. So they were really in that molded phase. Not to say everyone's parents were. Of course, there's very successful people out there. But I think people coming out of high school now are coming out of university. And I tell people all the time, it is not the end of the world. You want to take 6 years in university, take 6 years. You want to slow your time down. Maybe you want to go to university right away, take a gap year. Take a gap year. I did university in 5 years and I struggled with it because I thought people would look at me like, oh, she's not smart enough to do it. She can't do it in 4 years. Why are you doing it in 5 years? But then I noticed like, hey, screw you, buddy. Like I'm doing what will help me get through and help me feel like I have to succeed.
Exactly.
You know, so
and that's what we have to do at the end of the day. We have to do what's best for ourselves.
Wow. So my mom fully set the fire alarm off in the middle of this podcast.
I love that.
Okay. Oh, okay. So
nice. We're just gonna.
I'm just gonna keep talking, and we're just gonna hope that like you guys can't hear that because of the mics.
It might not be. All I hear is this like voice.
I'm just gonna kind of like text her and say, "Shut the fire alarm off."
Oh my god! I thought you were gonna say something else.
No.
If you know what I'm saying.
Fire alarm off. Anyways, we're gonna keep going. I'll put music behind this. So this is what happens when you can't afford a podcasting studio, if those exist, or a studio to record in. Oh! So we're back from
interesting.
That was very interesting. Thought the house was burning down.
Yeah, like at first it was like, okay, maybe it'll just stop.
And we realized it got louder, so we run out there like
it was like startling. That was terrifying.
That was horrible. The neighbor across the street saw the alarms going off. Note
hilarious.
to self, kids, pay attention to the oven.
Yeah, like what was even going down?
I don't know. There was no actual fire. We are like on a serious note, we're good, but there was some smoke. But we realized in that like little segment there, that intermission we had, that you guys are probably wondering how we're even friends.
Yes, like we had to touch upon this.
Because I'm just going to call everyone out who's watching this and would think, how the hell are these two friends?
Yeah.
How did they become friends? There's no way. So I'm just going to say you guys are still stuck in high school. I'm just going to call it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because things are possible. You can become friends with people you thought you weren't going to be friends with.
Yeah, literally. Like,
and
just because I am from fairy gumdrop land and Korea,
and I'm from the soccer field.
Yeah, literally.
We could still be friends.
Exactly.
And we're actually best friends.
Exactly. Because our souls connect.
Yes.
You know? Like we have that.
Ooh, that got deep.
Connection.
Our souls connect. I will throw like, I'm going to throw the plug into there though to Ju and Sierra because they're the reason I met Sarah.
Yes.
So shout out to them. And to, I guess to kind of touch on that and to go back to what we were saying about validation, like in high school, even I want to say in university to a certain extent, if you notice like people or kids that are themselves that, let's say in high school, you would label as like, oh, this kid is like, he's weird, he's not cool. Or like, you notice the cool people are actually always doing stuff to get validation from others. Yeah, whereas literally. The people that they label are the people being themselves and not caring what others think.
And that's triggering to somebody who is putting on a show, you know, because you see somebody who's living their life unapologetically and that like triggers a little bit of ego in there because like not everyone, it's hard to be like that. It's hard to live your life and not care what people think. It's like a learning process that you have to go through. It is to really like learn how to accept yourself.
It is. And I feel like no one's perfect. Like to this day, I still struggle with that with like when I have to post something or like just things in general, like even with my parents, I see it or like with other adults around me. There's always a part of you where your ego's kind of in control and you're always going to kind of worry about what other people are going to think. Yeah. And it comes down to like, what confidence do you have in yourself? You need to, I saw a quote and it said that if you love someone else more than you love yourself, then something's up because it should never be that way. You should love yourself the most and then love everybody else or else you won't be able to love someone properly because you don't even know what it feels like.
Exactly.
You know, and it's like, again, going with the whole validation thing, like posting something, let's say I post, there's sometimes I post things and people will say like, why did you post that? And I'll be like,
I used to get that all the time.
Yeah. And I'd be like, because I want to. I thought it was cool. Like,
Literally.
I could also post thinking, oh, well, this person might not think this is cool. They might not like it. They might not. Guys, Instagram's rigged. I posted a photo. 700 people saw it. 150 people liked it. Can you imagine? I needed to seek validation from those 700 people.
Literally.
I'd be crying myself to sleep every night.
Yeah. I had a rude awakening with that when I started Ombra, my Instagram, for my art, because like I literally get like 3 likes and it's like literally my best friends and
we're out
my
here.
supporters. And like, I really fucking appreciate that. And honestly, that's all that matters to me. Yeah. But before that, I was worrying, like, before I started putting my art out there, like, what if I get no likes? What if no one follows me? Like, what if people don't care? Yeah. And you, like, who gives a shit? Yeah. Like, I honestly am just sharing my art, and I trust that, like, the right people will notice it and they'll love it. And, like, that's what matters. Like, even, like, with anything that we post or share about ourselves, like, who cares? If somebody doesn't like it, then do you even want that person to be, like, in the pit? Like, they don't matter
in the picture,
at all.
Yeah. No,
like,
it's
if
true.
you don't like it, no problem. Like, that's cool. Everybody has different interests.
But that's the thing. It's like everyone has their own opinion. There's no point in hating. Like, even with the podcast, and I would tell my friends, like I told them, the other girls, like people that I want to come on, my whole purpose of it is like, you're not coming on here to seek validation from others. You're coming on here to be you and speak your truth.
Yeah, and it's hard.
It is hard. And it's like, because the part of you from when you're younger is still there. And it's saying, well, what are they going to think when I say this?
Exactly.
But to be honest, if you don't like it, move on to the next one. Literally. If you like it, like, subscribe, throw the plug in, and like follow along, because people should be able to be themselves. And you know what? If you don't like it, that's cool. Respects. Like, exactly. Everyone has different likes and different dislikes, but there's no point in hating on someone because you wouldn't like if someone hated on you. And there's so many people on the internet that like go out of their way to hate on people. Yeah. And it's like, I would tell them, take a step back. Look at yourself. There's something you haven't healed from your past that's coming up, that when this person posts this or says this, it's triggering you currently.
Exactly. And if only people were able to look, like more people were able to look at it in that way.
And it's, but like, it's such a hard thing. Like, I go through it all the time. Like something will piss me off, but now I'm at a point where I'll step back and I'll think, why is this pissing me off? Yeah. Is it something that I went through when I was younger, I went through in high school, and that I never healed, and now that trigger is always kind of with me? And it's not the person's fault. You can do what you want to do. The only reason it's pissing me off is because I haven't healed something.
Exactly. It's triggering something within you. And, you know, like for myself, I would have these like certain beliefs, or like just, I don't know, everything ties into the way that you act. Like the way that we act, react, the way that we think, it honestly all stems from like the way that we grew up and like the experiences that we went through. And not everybody grows up like rainbows and butterflies, you know, like we go through shit. And like, you may think that the person that bullied you when you were in grade 6, like whatever, fuck them now. Yeah. But it's not always that way, because your younger self may have been affected by that. And like you carry that in your subconscious. It's true. And certain scenarios will trigger it. And that's what happens. Like people who hate, like to go back to that. Yeah. Like, I used to think when people would like say shit about me, like, oh no, like I have to change something about myself. Yeah. Like something's wrong with me. Yeah. When actually it's like, no, like they're lacking something within themselves, and all the love to you. Like, I hope that you can figure that out one day and like heal that side of yourself, but it has nothing to do with us. We can only react, like with the, what, you know what I'm trying to say? Like we react with like the way that we feel, or no. Your we reaction, can only see things as we are. Yeah. There we go.
And it's like the energy you put out is what you attract to, right? And it's like, that's a big thing, because if you're seeking validation from others, the energy you put out is always like desperate. It's always wanting. And it's not being confident in yourself. When you walk around like, and I'm not saying get really ego, walking around head high, like no one can touch me, like just civilized, you know? Yeah. When you walk around like that, it's like you will attract positive vibes. When you're caring, loving, generous, like all those like positive vibrations, and you're putting those out in the world, you will attract those to you. And the biggest thing I would say too, as we were saying before, is like, it's very, very hard. And I'm not saying this because I do this. I'm just saying like, it's a lesson that we all have to learn, that I'm still learning, where it's like, you cannot take things personally.
No.
Everyone has gone through an experience. You can get someone that, let's say, someone close to them has just went through something traumatizing and now it's affecting them. And now you might have said something that you thought was okay. Even though it's a slightest bit off, it's triggering them just because they're in like a low state right now. But there's no point in losing your mind on them because you don't know what they're going through.
Exactly.
So
we all have our own lessons to learn. You know, we're all living a different path.
Yeah.
Like, even to bring it back to like the structure in which we should be living, how society has like told us that we need to accomplish all these things on a certain timeline, whatever. No, like that doesn't work because we all have so many different lessons. We all have so many different reasons for being here on this earth.
No,
you know,
it's
like
true.
we're here for a purpose and we have karma to fulfill. We have lessons to learn, you know, and you just got to be willing to look at the scenarios that trigger you and look at them as an opportunity. Like, no, I'm not a victim. Like, not because you're a victim. You're not going through this because you're a victim. You're experiencing this because you're moving on to a higher level. You know, you're growing. We're always growing. I like to look at it as we're always moving forward. We're always moving up, you know, and unfortunately, or not even unfortunate, like when you move up, you're going to have to face all of the shit that is no longer serving you. Like the things that don't fit into your lifestyle, or where you're headed, you know?
Yeah, it's true. And it's like, always remember, like, at the end of the day, like, you healed yourself, right? And yeah, I would just say that, like, you heal yourself, and you have to remember that we're all going through life together. Nobody, I don't care who it is, nobody has perfected life. Nobody has perfected how to deal with every single situation that's thrown at them. You get curveballs left, right, and center. And you know what? Life is full of highs and lows. And
it's so true.
You want to surround yourself with great people. My dad always said to me growing up, show me your friends, I'll show you your future. And it's very, very true. And you notice as you grow older, your circle becomes smaller, but the people around you support you and grow with you.
Exactly.
And that is major key, because at that point, you're no longer seeking validation from those around you. It's your group. It's like, for us, there's like, we're like 4 of us, and it's, I don't make decisions based off what's Sarah going to say to me. Like, I just know she's my best friend. She's going to support me. And you know what? She'll also set me straight if she's doing something that I don't think that she doesn't think, let's say, is the best decision for me, but it's not because she's hating on me. It's because she thinks I could do better.
Exactly.
And that's the difference, where it comes from a place of still caring, not from a place of hatred.
Exactly. It comes from a place of love. And like, I can say that like the support system that we have is superior. Like, I think about it all the time, and to think about the days that like I used to feel like I never fitted in, like I never fit in. Like, I wasn't happy with like the people that I was surrounded with. And you know what? It goes back to validation. It's like, when you're trying to be a people pleaser, don't expect the people around you to actually like you for you, because you're creating a version of yourself that's made for them, you know? No,
it's true. And like, in a way, you also just like end up hurting yourself, because now you're only doing things for other people and not for yourself. I do that to this day.
Like,
and like,
it
I need to learn.
Like,
I know what I have to do. It's just, you got to get there. It's a work in progress, right? And for any of you out there, like, everyone has at least that one person that they can go to, you know? And that, I think, is so major key. It doesn't matter who it is in your life. Major key. Like, it doesn't matter who it is in your life. It's just someone that gets you, someone that supports you. And once you have at least that one person, it's like, okay, I don't need validation from others. It could even be like, I used to work at a bank, and I had people come in that they didn't have family, they didn't have friends, they didn't have anyone around them. But for them, it was like me as a bank teller. They would come and they would talk to me. And so there's always someone. Don't just think it has to be like your family or your friends. Like, everyone has a different situation. And it's about being in those, like, I never thought going as a bank teller I was going to make like really good friends with some of the customers. Honestly. And I did, because they found a comfort in like talking to me. So as they were doing their transaction, I would talk to them like they were my friends. And we weren't best friends, but you learn to care for others. And it's being open. And if this person came in, let's say, seeking validation in the sense of trying to show this bank teller they're serious, they would never get anywhere. It's them allowing them feeling an energy of like warmth and comfort, and then taking that and like using it, basically.
Exactly. And that comes from
go.
That comes from a place of like, maybe that was their first leap and their first step forward of actually like learning to accept themselves and love themselves.
Yeah.
Because it's so true. Like the law of attraction is real.
Yeah.
When you are authentic and you accept yourself and you just decide to be grateful for what you have right now, you will literally start attracting like what's meant for you, whether that be a simple conversation with a bank teller that you just met. That conversation could heal wounds. Like that could take you back and like just, you know, anybody that we meet can change our lives.
It's true. And I'm a firm believer in you meet everyone for a reason. And it's either kind of like a lesson or a season. So they teach you a lesson in that 5 minutes or you know them for a very long time. And never look down on people because you wouldn't want people to look down on you, and understand that they're there for a reason. Everything you go through, even in the hardest moments. And we've all been through very, very, very tough situations. And it's like, it's very hard in the moment, but when you look back or even years down the line, everything kind of pieces together about why certain things happened.
Yeah, like the hardest scenarios, you look back and it's like, wow. Like seriously, if I didn't go through half of the shit that I went through, I would not be who I am today.
It's true.
And like, if only I could like tell my younger self that, like, it's all gonna be okay, girl. Like, you're gonna make it. You're gonna be like even happier than you could imagine. Yeah. You know, like.
And that's the biggest thing, right? And even just like seeking validation in the sense, though, like I find even with like parents, like it's
getting their approval.
Yeah, and like you're always okay. Listen to your parents. I'm not saying don't listen to your parents, but I'm saying like. It's always a fear of like, well, if I don't do this, like they're going to get mad at me. And I don't mean like, oh, bizarre things, like things that are obvious, like that obviously anyone would get mad because they could be dangerous. But I mean like little things, like I can't think of a topic off the top of my head, but I go like, I don't know, like. Well,
I know with a lot of like parents, like we love you, but like because the way they grew up, like they were kind of like
they portray
in that, like you need to be like a doctor, lawyer, like teacher.
Well, there you
like,
go. An example,
you know,
like coming out of high school,
like
I was taught that I was either business or science, partially because that's what my high school really enforced, and then also because in my parents' eyes, it wasn't successful if you didn't do business or science. And it's no fault of their own. It's they were raised in a generation where it was like business or science or like a lawyer or a doctor. I guess that's science, but like that's all success.
Yeah, like those are your options if you want to be successful.
So then I ended up going to school for business. I don't regret it, but I actually wanted to go to OCAD for like arts and media, but that wasn't seen as like it was going to be successful. And it's not even their fault. I just thought even growing up, when you read things, when you watch TV, like that's what they push. They make it seem like if you're going to get into the arts, you're not going to make it far.
Yeah, like you're going to be a starving artist.
Yeah, it's
that was like a fear for me.
Yeah.
You know, I knew that I was good at art and I thought I wanted to get into fashion and be like a designer, which would be sick. I'm not closing that door because if one day I want to become a fashion designer, like I'm going to do it. But like our first instinct is to like look where the money is, like what's going to make me the most money.
It's true.
And that's actually a really shitty way to look at things. Because when you're money driven, like again, it's validation.
It is.
It really is validation.
Because the more you're making, you're becoming validated, but you're doing something for the money. It's easy to look at a lawyer and say they make money. It's easy to look at a doctor and whatever else. But at the same time, like I had a friend who kind of opened my eyes to it and was like, hey, no, you can do your own thing. As long as you have a passion for it, the money will come. It's a byproduct.
Exactly.
It's not
it really
it's
is.
not the main thing you should be doing it for. If you're passionate about being a lawyer, you be a lawyer. If you're passionate about being a doctor, be a doctor, because we need people in those fields that are passionate about it, not just for the money. Same thing with teachers. People are becoming teachers because they get summer off and it's great pay.
But literally.
I'm not trying to send no.
Our teachers should be passionate. If anything, like that, you should be passionate. You should love children because you're like literally molding them into how they're going to be in the future. Like honestly, teachers have caused me trauma. Like looking back.
No, it's so true. We've all had our favorite teachers and our worst teachers. And you can see it in like throughout though. And I'm not saying like just kindergarten, elementary school, high school, even university profs. You can tell who's there to genuinely help children flourish and succeed, and who's there because maybe they started loving their job, now they hate it. You can just tell in the aura. I would come home and tell my parents all the time, there's certain professors, there's certain teachers in high school, there's certain teachers in elementary school that I feel like they don't like their job. I feel like I'm an annoyance to them, but and I get it. It's very, very hard, of course. Like you're dealing with sometimes 30 kids in a class, and like
that's crazy.
everyone's raised differently. Everyone has different morals. Kids react different ways. But I'm like, I get all that. But at the same time, if the core passion is still there, you'll have patience. I remember in elementary school, there was a few kids that like really acted out all the time. And most teachers, it was the easiest thing. Send them to the office, call their parents, whatever. When I got to grade 7 or 8, one of my teachers actually really cared about making us succeed and getting to high school. And instead of coming down on these kids, she actually like sat and like kind of gave them more attention and like, okay, why are they acting out this way, and trying to figure it out. Because you have to remember, like, kids don't just act out. They're obviously a product of their environment.
Exactly.
So if they're coming to school and you're yelling at them too, like they're an issue, that's not fair to them.
Yeah.
Like they'll hold that with them. And if you notice, if you talk to anybody, the teachers that are their favorite are the teachers that actually paid attention to them and listened to them.
Exactly.
Like,
and didn't judge them.
No.
Also.
Exactly.
It's so easy to judge little children.
100%.
Like,
and listen, everyone is at fault for that at
Yeah,
some point
like,
or
we all
another. Like no
judge.
one's perfect.
It happens.
But that's another big thing where it's like the passion has to be there. You're not being a teacher for the validation of the money or the summers off. You're not being a lawyer for the money or a doctor or an accountant. You're doing it because you have a strong passion in it. You enjoy doing it and you're really good at it. And that I have a lot of respect for. And sometimes, like you'll hear sometimes there's like families of all lawyers. And then there's like one child and he becomes like
the black sheep.
Yeah, pretty much. Like he becomes like, I don't know, an artist. And it's like, if that child actually, they probably go through stress. What's my family going to think? What are people going to think? Because my family's so successful as lawyers and now I'm an artist. But it's like, they stop seeking that validation from their family, and that's when they do what they're passionate about, and that's when they become successful. And then everyone gains respect for them. Your parents will always support you. Like I'm a firm believer, this could be different obviously in every household, but I'm a firm believer in no matter what, at the end of the day, that's your kid. So like they will support you to a certain extent, obviously not if you're doing something stupid, but like
but if
they're
you're
still kind of there.
Something with the intention of like being happy, or you just really love something and you just want to explore that and see where it goes, like you have the right intentions there. You know, so for me as a parent, like I would rather see my child like going forth with something that they love, even if they don't know how much money it's going to make them or whatever, instead of going down a path for the wrong reasons.
And you'd rather be like eventually I'll tell my kids this, but like you're better off making less money in a year but being very happy with what you're doing than being very miserable and making a plethora of money but working like stupid long hours, not enjoying your job, being pissed off, coming home with an attitude. Like that shouldn't be the way it is. You know?
That's not worth the money for me. Seriously. No. If I was making millions of dollars every year but I was miserable, I don't want the money, because like happiness is actually what's most important. And that even ties in with like dropping this concept of like I need to be perfect, everyone needs to like me, I need to be like validated, whatever, like, you know, fuck that. Like there's I can't, it's true. My train of thought, kind of.
Preach. It happens.
But you know, you need to do things with the intention of like being happy. And it needs to come from love, like a place of love and
place of passion.
And we all have that. You know, if you think that you don't have anything that you're good at, that's your ego. Like your ego is always going to be that like voice in your head that's like, but wait, like you're not good enough, or like
it's true,
what you're doing is shit, no one's going to like it. But
it's true.
It's not true, you know? And
like, just to say, like everything we've said is like, we're still learning through it too. Like we're not saying it because we've perfected it. It's just, we notice like when we go through things or when our friends go through things, these are all just lessons that we've learned to come to understand. And like, that's kind of the whole purpose behind the pod too, where it's like, now we're saying it so that you guys get it too. And hopefully like impacting you sooner than we found it out, because we found it out a bit later in like our lifespan so far. Whereas like, I wish I knew these things when I was in high school or like university. Things would have been
so different.
So different. And it's like, if I just had someone telling me like, hey, yo, you don't need that validation.
Yeah, like that doesn't, it's not going to change who you are and what you accomplish.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Seriously. Having some random say to you like, oh, good job, dude. Like, that doesn't affect your success. Like that doesn't affect
you're
your
in
path.
charge of that.
Exactly. You're in charge of your life. You're in charge of the way that you view yourself.
Yeah.
You know?
It's true.
It's true. Like even to think about like when I first started like painting and wanting to share my art, I literally wasted probably like $100 worth of canvases. Like I would paint, hate it, throw it, paint, hate it, throw it. And like I let my ego like take charge sometimes. We literally have this joke of the trauma painter because
guys, when it comes out, it's scary. It is scary. You abort the mission.
It. Like it's so easy to let those like negative thoughts or those egotistic thoughts like take over and like start hating on yourself and start like thinking like I'm not good enough or whatever. Yeah.
Anyways, guys, we're gonna wrap this up, but Sarah kind of touched upon it already, but I'm gonna start asking all my guests this at the end of the podcast. But what's one thing you would tell your younger self?
I would tell my younger self that it's all gonna be okay. Like seriously.
Okay.
It always turns out okay.
Yep. And it's not the end of the world, basically.
Exactly.
Alrighty, so if you enjoyed what you saw, first of all, follow Umbra Studios on Instagram, on Etsy. Buy some of those paintings. Show her some support. Follow, like, subscribe. TikTok, Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube. Too many to name. Anyways, I appreciate you guys. I appreciate your support. Sarah, thank you for taking the time for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. I'm sure you'll see more of her on here for sure.
Definitely.
As well as like our other friends. I'm going to bring them on here as well. So you guys have a good day and I'll catch you on the next episode.